Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative. Now this is just a commentary on the video that Trump just put out. You may have seen this. I'm going to provide a link to the Twitter video that I saw. I did watch it on my phone. It's a little bit choppy. Well, this is what we received from Donald Trump today on, what is it, the 7th of January 2021. Now, if you didn't know, yesterday the Capitol was overrun by terrorists, domestic terrorists, and everybody can see what happened that day. More videos are coming out to kind of expand upon how they got into the Capitol, and a lot of information is going to be coming out and clarifying things that people don't know exactly what exactly occurred. I mean, we know what happened more or less, and what we can safely say is that it seemed like Donald Trump was very allowing for people to go around the Capitol. And then some people in this group, in this protest, in this riot, what it became, decided to go inside the Capitol. And what was interesting enough was it was so easy to get inside the Capitol, but these are things that can be handled later on. What he does is he does address things in a way that is very unlike Donald Trump. He usually sticks by his guns, and he will, while maybe admitting a wrong that he may have done, he'll word it in a way to say that he did not do anything wrong, or he'll stick to his guns and say, but all of this, I still believe I was right. And that's very much how, like, the first video went when I believe he was outside the White House. Maybe it was videoed outside, and people didn't know exactly what to think. He kept on saying, I won the election. It was stolen, but please go home. We love you. Just go home. And he was speaking to the people who were rioting and crossing the boundary of the Capitol, something that hasn't happened in 200 years. Now today we finally get this video that is more like what a traditional politician is required to say. Now some people may say this is something he had to do, and I believe this is something he had to do. However extreme that you think that he is as a president or a human being, it's something that just had to be done, had to be said to quell any kind of underlying anger or resentment of some people have in this country, and to feed into what they may do. Because honestly, what happened at the Capitol could be a first step to other things happening around the country. While I hope not, it's a very firm possibility that that could occur, and maybe that still could occur. But what will help is by Donald Trump addressing this directly and addressing his supporters, telling them that this is not the way that things should be done. Things should be handled in a court of law. This is where more or less I agree with things in this case. Now remember, everything is a case-by-case basis, and you can even refer to other video that I had earlier this summer when there were the protests, and some people may call them the riots around the country and New York, for the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as many other things, where I did say, and I want to clarify, sometimes there needs to be something done more than just talking, more than just done politically and in lawmaking. This is one of those things where I don't agree with it crossing the line into the Capitol. And unfortunately, this is just something that's going to be a black eye on the country just forever. So Trump finally put out this message, hoping to quell things, and you can tell at the very least he was coerced into doing this, because this is not something that he would normally do on his own volition. It seems, from what I know, from what I've seen for all of his videos and everything that he tweets and puts out, his Twitter was locked for 48 hours. He was banned indefinitely from Facebook, I believe, until after Biden's inauguration. But this was very curious, because the way it was shot, It was very much like I am right here. It was all generalized lighting. Right now I have a lot of point lighting. I kind of have warm lighting here. I have basically a TV casting on me, having a lot of moving light. But what he had here, and let's see if we can actually see this again, is, oh, I want to go back to this video because I thought it was very interesting. So he is shot in two different angles. You can see this is him first once it exposes right, and it's a camera that does not move. It does not wander around. And the second angle is a little bit different, and you can actually hear the cut between both of these. Let me see if I can find this here. I swear that there was a cut and it changed the angle briefly. Now, I just watched this once and for the first time. And again, because I have more, oh here, this is the second angle that it cut to midway through the speech. And with this, normally in a press conference, it is a very clear cut. It kind of flows one into the other. This one did have a little bit of a clip. And again, this is a theory. This could be, well, not a conspiracy theory. This is just a theory that I have. And I think the way the world is and what we've seen in media, maybe the question that I pose here is, what if this was a deep fake? I carry to the fact that there has been a lot of CGI work done. Now, I know this is completely separate. There's been a lot of CGI work done in movies, particularly Star Wars. If you're not a Star Wars fan, they did de-age some of the characters and put them in different movies, where the originals were released in the 70s and the 80s. Now the new ones are being released in, I guess you'd call them the teens or the aughts or anything like that. For example, in Rogue One, they used a character called Princess Leia, played by Carrie Fisher, and what they did is they had a stand-in and they put dots around her face and they used CGI to recreate a younger version of Carrie Fisher, where at that point she was older than that for sure. And I saw that, and a lot of people had this idea where it didn't look quite right. And then maybe a month or so after this movie came out, a deep faker was going through a lot of reference footage from Carrie Fisher at this time, and they did a side-by-side, one of the true film and one of Carrie Fisher, deep faked. And what myself and a lot of other people saw was that the deep fake it was amazing, and it got things done better. One of the key things that I saw in the CGI was that the lips weren't moving exactly as they do. Sometimes in CGI, the top lip carries up where normally it does not do it in a way that some CGI is done. But in the deepfake, it looked more real. More recently, if you've watched The Mandalorian and you can see the character of Luke Skywalker played by Mark Hamill, again, is another de-aged character. They did the same thing where they did a deepfake on one side and the true like CGI work that was done by the show's creators, and the deepfake was done really well. There's another thing that was done by the creators of South Park, and it's called Sassy Justice, where they use a deepfake of Donald Trump's face on another person, where it's, I guess for maybe legal reasons, they're not making it Donald Trump, but this is some character named something Sassy, where they do a good job trying to emulate his voice, and it basically looks like, maybe let's say it's my person here with like this curly haired wig, but it has Donald Trump, and they do it very well and capture his mannerisms very well. And my thought is, this would be the perfect time to create a deepfake of the sitting president of the United States, where if he did not want to come out and clarify his statements and quell this possible uprising of his supporters, this is the time then where it should possibly have been done or could possibly have been done, because with deepfakes as opposed to CGI, it just requires a lot of computer power. It requires a lot of reference material, where there is a lot from Donald Trump, and I think that this could have been the very first time. I'm saying, when I say could have been, it possibly would have been the time to use this technology to have Donald Trump on video saying these words in a way that he kind of would do, trying to word it as closely as he possibly would do, to quell this possible uprising. And I think it's a great thought that it's not, again, that I believe that it was done in this case, but it's definitely a possibility, because deepfakes were originally kind of out on the internet, where it made it look like a celebrity was saying something ridiculous. But the key thing that many filmmakers have brought up, and people in, I don't know, the technology space, is what if you had the celebrity or the public figure say something not so crazy? Then it would kind of, maybe people would believe it more than if you maybe saw Kim Kardashian saying something ridiculous, or some other public figure saying something ridiculous. I think it's just a thought, and I love the idea of technology being used, but it is worrisome to think that we are at the place where this is possibly what could happen. Donald Trump is going to be in power for the next 13 days until January 20th. If for any reason he refused to put out a statement, maybe to, quote, save his own political career in the future, maybe even that wasn't important enough for him to come out and make the statement. If he didn't want to do it, this is one of those times where maybe it's technologically possible for it to happen. And it's just a thought. If you have any thoughts on this, or think it could have been done, or maybe it even has been done in other situations, put that in the comment section below. Don't forget, I'm on Instagram at m8b9. You can email me at matt8b9@gmail.com. Again, this is a theory, a wild theory, but it could be closer to what reality could be in the future. If you want somebody to say something and they are not willing to, it's kind of like coercing somebody into a signature, signing a contract or a document that you do want them to sign. And it's almost like that in the digital age, in the video-centric age that we are in right now. Just a thought. Always think about what you're watching. Know that a lot of what we see on TV is heavily computer generated, and maybe deep fakes will be something that is used now in movies rather than CGI, because in my personal opinion, they're doing a better job with deep fakes in short little bursts than CGI. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.